Greetings, family. This is Tarun here with a special presentation about the Transcending Matters Academy. And today I was going to do an opening evening, but I have decided to do this presentation more importantly because a lot of people has been asking me about the philosophy of the Transcending Matters Academy. Now they've been asking, what's it all about? What why another academy? Why now? Of all the things that are happening, why have you decided to open an academy, Tarun? And there are a million answers to that, but it can all be understood if I was to break down the philosophy of the academy. And that would really emphasize the importance as to why, from a ground up, why I find this is necessary. Again, another expansion of the journey from doing courses and one-day seminars and online speeches and amalgamating and organizing this information into a constructive form, a constructive pathway is more important and more relevant so people can see a strategy, which is really important. Rather than just having bits and pieces of information here and there, it's important to have a strategy. And strategy today is so relevant. A lot of people can't even understand or grasp the idea of what does strategy mean. And a lot of people are trapped under strategies being played out on them, and they don't even realize or have a moment to step back and analyze what is happening when they are being strategized. So the importance of understanding strategy at the core, and the reason why you have to understand the playing field, as it were, understand the 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 road of action. In Vedanta, this is known as the field. There's the inner person in terms of the Atma, Paramatma, and Atma united as consciousness, and they are observing the field. The first field that they are observing is the mind, the body, the intelligence, the reasoning faculty, and it's an observation process. Now, if you're not in touch with this aspect of inner observation, you're more caught up in what the mind is observing, what the intelligence is observing. And sometimes, because of such a overload of noise pollution, you don't know how to step back from the external world and analyze this information properly and strategize your way through it, either as an individual, even as a team, even as a corporate, a company. You need to understand these core principles of fundamental leadership, fundamental growth, fundamental evolution, how to analyze data. And in this, knowing how to analyze data at the core, especially analyzing strategies that are being played out, it gives you a higher sense of advantage in the playing field because now you can plan and strategize with the data. You've got to know how to analyze data, how to forecast, and how to future proof. These concepts are key to growth. If you don't have a concept of future proofing, then you're future shrinking and you're becoming slowly and more irrelevant and more open to abuse on many levels. So in this episode, or in this presentation, should I say, because this will be going out on my YouTube channel, I am going to address some very sensitive areas. In some cases, I'm going to be saying, don't blame the messenger. And this is important to understand as a key factor that all I am doing is helping, aiding, bringing awareness so you can protect yourself in the here and now and also understand the philosophy of the Academy. So let me dive straight into the presentation and let's get into this. So here we go. Welcome to the Transcending Matters Academy philosophy presentation. We are going to be looking at the philosophy behind transcending matters. Who is it that we're out to help in the community? Who we are looking out to serve and develop, and why? So the first concept of the philosophy is depth over hype. Depth over hype. And me, myself, I've kind of struggled with this for my own personal growth because I just don't like hype. Social media is full of hype. Many things are out there are leaning on the concept of hype. Many trends are dealing with hype. There's ways to understand or detect where organizations, companies, and so forth, or service providers are coming from when they're working on hype more than depth. In other words, they're highlighting the problem and not the solution. They're highlighting the pain, but not highlighting the resolution. This may even extend further into cultural anchors, using cultural anchors such as slavery, such as disposition and so forth, just to sell a concept over for you to get into opening up yourself in a way, but you're not growing, you're not developing, you're following a hype train more than a depth train. And the more that we get into this presentation, we're going to understand why we have to concentrate on depth over hype. So the first thing that we want to really emphasize is that we're going to be building courses and teachings that focus on substance, not shortcuts or marketing gloss. We're looking at substance, and substance turns into values, which we're going to go into a little bit further. So why this matters: learners gain skills and knowledge that hold up in the real world, not just on a certificate, or not just in the moment, or not just with the trend. So future-proofing people, future-proofing people and organizations. We're going to equip learners and leaders with adaptable, resilient foundations. And this is really important to understand the growth train. Like, forget quick fix. Because when you're dealing with quick fix or quick schemes or trend schemes, when the trend is dying out, you die out. You're not evolving with the process. So it's really important to understand adaptability. So this ensures readiness for rapid changes in work. I was asked the other day, what is change management? This is one of the key concepts of understanding how to deal with change, not how to manage a scenario to try and keep it the same, how to adapt, how to become flexible, especially with the growth of technology and the change in mindsets of society. So the next one is integrity and accountability. Operating with transparency, rigorous standards, and a culture of listening. A lot of people are out there dictating to people what they should do, how they should do it, where they should be, all under the hype machine. Again, from a psychological point of view, which I'm going to give away, when you hear marketing concepts where the forefront of the promotions is the big question, why? Why? That has one of the strongest pulls on emotions that gets people diving into their pockets without even understanding that there is no resolution to following the why train. You're going to end up, after you come off the why train, still asking why. So when you look at integrity and accountability, when you're coming from an integral and accountable place, you already have the why answered. Part of your service is delivering the why, not selling the why. If you're selling the why, you're selling hype. If you're delivering the why, you're selling substance. And this is a big point to look at when you're looking into a service or something, whatever you're going to buy, whatever you're going to engage in, whatever you're going to consume. Why are you engaging with this process of being? And a lot of people are stuck on why trains because it's the fashion, because it's the group, because it's what seems to be the in thing. So depth of hype is a key component in understanding integrity and accountability. So what does that look like? Operating with transparency, rigorous standards, and a culture of listening. I have to say that. I have to stress on that because a lot of people are just talking at people. They're not talking with people. They're not talking and listening to them and responding accordingly. They're just literally ramming information at them, not giving them a time to consume the information, sometimes making them feel like they're an idiot for not even understanding the information. And now, because it's an embarrassing scenario, you feel like you fear asking questions. We're going to be breaking down a lot of things. Like I said, don't blame the messenger. I'm just highlighting what Transcending Matters philosophy is all about. And I know this is going to highlight a lot of things that are happening out there, but we have to be aware of these things and we have to be comfortable about talking about the elephant in the room so we can really understand the fullness of future proofing. So, practical wisdom for everyday life. So I've just missed out why this matters with the integrity and accountability. So let's just run over that. It protects learners and people from exploitation and builds long-term trust in the academy and outside of the academy. It builds long-term trust in their decision making. A lot of people are still making decisions with this concept of I don't know in the back of their head. I don't know if I should do this. I don't know. And they still do it. And they still regret it. There's a lot. So practical wisdom for everyday life. Translate learning into decisions, actions, and community impact. Again, coming out of a selfish space and growing into a selfless space. And understand that the selfless space is the most abundant space because when you give sincerity, when you give value, it has to come back. It's the law of the universe. You can't negate the laws of the universe. So leadership as service, develop leaders who listen, respond, and guide with both head and heart. This is what's missing in the world. Everybody is flying up in their heads, flying up in this space of uncomfortability, flying up in the space of need, and making these things more prominent, even in marketing. You need to do this. Why? You need to do that. Why? You need to know this. Why? Why and need. Two words you have to be really careful of in marketing and sales and promotions. Why? Where is the solution? What is the solution? How is the solution implemented? When are we going to implement the solution? So if we're stuck on why and need, we're riding a hype machine. And even internally, when we're stuck in this place, we're hyping ourselves out of a true state of being. It's not a natural space to feel constantly within your vibration. Why this? Why that? I need this. I need that. So eradicating this concept of being, first addressing depth of a hype, is really important. So what does this look like for outcomes? So for individuals, it's to gain recognized future-proof qualifications. And this is through the system that we've decided to follow. I've been going through the courses through and dealing with the website through the development of the website for the week, and really integrally sitting down, looking at the courses and what we originally proposed. Now I've looked at them, revised them, expanded on a few of the courses, and instead of making them 6 weeks courses, I've made them 8-week courses. Just so much in that process of making sure that the content and the quality of time that you have to deal with this information is right, rather than just following quick fix schemes or what is the average. Putting in that little bit more gives you a little bit more quality in the outcome. So all of these things, again, we've been going through the week, really fine-tuning the process of learning that we have for the academy. So for individuals, we're talking about gaining strong, recognized, future-proof qualifications, building resilience, confidence, and adaptability, strengthen leadership and communication, which is really key. When you understand the importance of strengthening leadership and communication, you understand the communing process of community, you understand collectiveness, you understand interconnectivity, you understand compartmentalization. There's so much things to understand communication, and it's not just to use it as a blank sort of blanket process of how you communicate with everyone, and you communicate with everyone just the same, and you expect a level of a communication from everyone the same. No, this is a very full space of communication, a very limited space of communication. So understanding communication outside of just the voice is very, very important. So tools for decision making and self-management, very important. Looking at corporate teams, we're looking at stronger collaboration, trust and accountability, training aligned with workplace needs, enhanced problem solving and adaptability, leadership capacity across the organization. Entrepreneurs, we're looking at strategic leadership and visioning, tools for sustainable growth and scaling, financial and operational acumen, ethical, future-oriented decision making, the impacts, career growth, personal empowerment, readiness for change for the individual, corporates, higher productivity, better culture, reduced turnover. And for entrepreneurs, we're looking at resilient business, credibility, long-term marketing, trust. So let's dive in because there's a lot that I want to cover. And looking at the components of what is future-proofing is the big question. And I want us to all understand what are we up against in future-proofing, not just from technology, not just from AI, but social mindsets, think tanks, operandums, changing the way things are changing at the rapid change, resources, so much things to look at. How do you future proof? And the key component I mentioned earlier was how to analyze data, how to gather data, how to work with data, and how to be ahead of the game with raw data, with no emotional context attached to it. So you're talking about an intellectual intelligence that can read data and act upon it accordingly. So at this point, I want to really highlight, don't shoot the messenger. Don't blame me for what I'm about to highlight, because this will make some people feel uncomfortable because they know that they're operating disingenuously, should I say. And outside of the concept of criticism and complaints, no one is perfect. Everyone is evolving. Everyone makes mistakes. It's how you handle it. It's how you deal with it. It's your process of sincerity in the process of progress, of authenticity. What are your core values? Not your core beliefs, your core values. And if your values are off, then all your experiences with your customers and so forth is going to have a bit of distaste within it. So like I was saying, don't blame the messenger on this one. Don't shoot the messenger. We're just looking at the scales of justice, and I'm sharing some insights with you, again, to help you understand the philosophy of the academy and the root problems that we are facing, not just on a day-to-day space in living, but what it means to actually grow, actually expand, actually be resilient to what's actually going on out there, how to be more mindful, how to be more aware, how to be more sharper, how to be more instinctive. And these fundamental things are crucial, not just for the individual, but also for the team, also for the entrepreneur. And as you are progressing through your stages of growth, you're going to come across different concepts of challenges. And again, knowing how to navigate through those processes are key. And a lot of the things that I've even shared, normally you wouldn't hear this type of material until you're actually on the course, but or on one of our pathways or one of our courses, so you can understand the real depth of engagement, of negotiations, of communications, of sovereignty, should I say, in a whole, and how to operate from that space, especially when you're finding people operating. You might find that you're in a space where the majority is insincere. So the playing fields are treacherous, absolutely treacherous. And future proofing is all about how to manage and get through treacherous times. And this is from a personal point of view, a family orientated point of view, a communal point of view, a workplace point of view, a humanitarian point of view. There's a golden thread right through it where lack of awareness or lack of a application of self towards developing a construct of knowledge or construct of information that is now your baseline knowledge from what you operate from, to allow yourself to be bulletproof for the future. And you have to appreciate many aspects of growth, the ups, the downs, the turnings, the flexibilities, the adaptability that you need. 2026 has been a ferocious year of change, which was predicted from the beginning, and it has relentlessly showed its true colors. And to be able to rise up through this notion, it really does take a special insight of being, a special resonance, a special way of applying yourself. It's almost like when you're at sea and you refuse not to drown. You refuse not to give up. And the waves of all different types of sizes and velocity and ferocity are coming at you. How do you navigate through this until you hit dry land? And every year in business, or every growth of business, when you're changing from the corner shop to the chain stores, those teething pains, those growing pains are crucial to understanding and analyzing data and reformation. Now, this is a pretty picture. This looks more like it. This really looks more like it. And I can testify with even my own transition or transcending matters, the growth, the ups, the downs, the, oh my gosh, is it about to crash? So many things. If we kept the model that we started with and kept it just the same, we'd be completely out of operation now. There would be no transcending matters. And the ups and downs, again, the waves that push you to the left, push you to the right, you cannot predict where they're going to come from. You can't predict how they're going to come. You can't predict what the circumstances are going to be like in your stepping stones, because the volatile nature of your surroundings. For instance, when we started doing retreats out here in Portugal, the property rates were in the lower end of 10,000, so you could say 4,000 or 5,000. Now that same property the next year was 11, 12, 13,000. So the property market doubled, or the hiring, Airbnb, the booking.com, all of that, because of the great rush of tourism. And Portugal decided, you know what, we used to be economically viable. Let's put the price up. The flights are cheap. So let's put the hotel prices up. Let's put the food up. And it doubled. Now, if we didn't, we wasn't expecting a double. But from analyzing that data, we could foresight what's going to happen in the future. And we've had to curb, change, plan, expand, so forth. So many things that we've had to do to adapt to the situation, even though we've got price inflation and so many other things that are going on. Becoming creative, becoming flexible, and updating and changing our model has what's kept us alive. Otherwise, if we stayed the same as what we was in the beginning, just delivering meditation courses online, there would be no transcending matters. So it's very important to understand these growing pains and also the support that you will get from time to time. Sometimes you will feel like you are on your own. And you have to push through with that belief and push through with that anticipation of greatness to come and push through with that level of positivity and push through with authenticity, value, and commitment. So all of these things combined with a strategy, understanding what a strategy is, how to implement the strategies of the ups and the downs are key, extremely key. And the other thing is increasing value. Increasing value, being committed to increasing value. And these are maybe even through human resources or human behavior, even just through the concept of listening instead of dictating, listening to feedback and adapting and changing to feedback. There are companies out there that lie about their feedback. They blatantly lie. They would blatantly say this was a great experience when everybody else on the excursion did not think the only reason why it was great because it inflated their pocket. But there was no value for the customer. And because this has become so normalized, has become so normalized, people are fed up with it, but just going along with it because there's nothing else to do. When truly there is other things to do. You have to first know how to equate value. It's so important how to read in between the lines and work out what the value of something is that you're getting in or getting involved with or looking to extract from. It should be a two-way exchange. And the customer should always get what they expect in terms of an outcome. Sometimes the process to the outcome may change, and this is where you have to be flexible in the way how you deliver something. But the outcomes, once there's a internal signpost to pillars of truth that the customer can relate to and take away and say, okay, this is mine, this is mine, I got this, I got that. This is going to make me grow. It's not just memorabilia. This is going to make me grow. It's not that I'm just going to put it down and by next week I forgot it. This is going to make me grow. I wrote the book Way of Life, and outside of it being a very big read, and I still have a lot of people calling me, say, boy, Tarun, I bought the book and I still haven't read it, but it's sitting there staring at me. I got it right in the place where it's looking at me, reminding me that I have to read it. Well, that's good. That means there's some internal work that needs to be done that will allow you to now take on that process of learning that the book will bring you through. But it's something of value. It's not just a book. It's something of value that can take you from A to B in your own time, at your own pace. So the biggest problem that we have in the marketplace now is that a lot of things are overpriced, and the fashion of overpricing and the concept of low value is becoming the norm. And what is happening in that concept of the norm is that it's breeding a whole community of people that are thinking, being, acting, expecting under these concepts. And what this actually creates is a concept of narcissistic leadership. And this is prevalent right through the industry, right through the workplace, right through the community. Narcissistic leadership is the number one thing that is bringing value to nothing. And looking out for narcissistic leadership, narcissistic traps in marketing, in schemes, in this, in that, in personas. Again, the why, the needs. There's a psychology behind it. It's not narcissists looking for more narcissists or looking to develop more narcissists, but it's a concept of control. Because narcissists don't like you to think for yourself. So again, I don't want to dive too deep in it. I just want to raise that red flag. Raise that red flag. You see it in the attitude of the person that's serving you. You see it in the attitude. Narcissism is a massive problem worldwide right now. Branding has been mistaken or abused through the concept of narcissism and has replaced authenticity. Even though authenticity has the greater power, the quick fix, the quick buck, the quick turnover lies in narcissistic leadership. But most of the times it leaves the company dry, it leaves the customers dry, and it brings everything to ruination. And you have to be careful that you are not becoming a narcissistic leader or a narcissistic person just because of the stimuli that is within the environment. There is a point where fire fights fire, or even Ayurveda, they say, that concept, even homeopathy, fight fire with fire. But sometimes you have to use water. Sometimes you have to use authenticity. Sometimes you have to use realism. Sometimes you have to use common sense. And through narcissistic leadership, you're beaten out of this. You're not allowed to use common sense to argue with a narcissist. So, narcissism in business is one of the biggest things that we have to eradicate, especially in leaders, especially in entrepreneurs that are coming up now, because it's their downfall. It is the thing that's going to destroy them, destroy community trust, destroy growth and evolution in certain business sectors. So you have to understand that it is designed around highlighting needs. And highlighting needs, unmet needs, breeds narcissistic behavior at the core. This is a psychological fact. You can't overcome this. And this is even in a space of leading for ourselves. We don't want to be resonating in this space. Because it's almost like you're creating a hole for yourself and everyone and pulling everyone down with you. And there are smarter ways. There's more constructive ways of addressing needs outside of a narcissistic framework. And this a core principle is not taught in general, even in any form of academic level. So in what we are looking to provide, it's to overcome the tone of what you would call the immediate stench of the environment. I have to be careful here. Like I said, don't blame the messenger. And if we look at the facts, look at the data, let's have a look at what the findings are. Skill gaps still very large in the UK. In 2024, about 12% of employers reported that at least one member of staff lacked full proficiency. That's about 1.26 million employees. Shows that employers are still frustrated by employees who are not fully ready to deliver. Leadership needs to tackle both what people are currently missing and anticipate future shortfalls. Severe skills shortage over many years. A report says 80% of employers struggle to find candidates with the needed skills. Points to a systemic issue. Demands are rising, but supply isn't keeping up. Training must be deeper, more in-depth, not superficial. Reskilling, upskilling posed as top priority. Nearly 30% of employers in recent surveys says upskilling, reskilling is their primary concern, even above talent acquisition. And this is because leadership training must be part of the reskilling agenda, because people in leadership roles often lag in new skills like change leadership, digital literacy, and etc. Future underskilling is forecast. The UK could have 20% of its workforce significantly underskilled by 2030 if nothing changes. And this supports future proofing as a key argument. Investing now in solid qualification standards and high quality leadership training means avoiding being caught unprepared. Many organizations don't have skills plans. In one survey, British Chambers Open University found that only 19% of businesses had a written skills plan and 71% had none. So this suggests that leaders is often reactive rather than proactive. This is where structured qualifications, RQF, QCF, etc., and institutes like our academy will make a difference. So just look at a few example cases. NHS nurse qualification fraud in 2024, 700 nurses under investigation for allegedly outsourcing their registration from exams in Nigeria. That means people was taking their tests for them in Nigeria for them to pass. Lessons for leadership and training meant that certificates alone aren't enough. Training must ensure real competence and integrity. Here's that word again. Toxic psychotherapy courses. Students reported bullying, humiliation, and lack of regulation in therapy training programs. How sad is that? Accreditation without oversight fails. Learner protection and healthy learning environments are essential. Bogus colleges, UK ongoing, fake institutes set up offering worthless qualifications or used for immigration abuse. Now, again, even with the evolution of even the course titles, because I did want to tackle fundamental courses, foundation courses, and I was told to be careful on how they are titled because they just might attract immigrants and attract people that would look at the academy for doing courses in this space. Post office horizon scandal, postmasters wrongly blamed for IT errors, leadership ignored complaints, ruining lives, failure of ethical leadership and accountability. Leaders must listen, adapt, and act with integrity. Priority group care failures. Units rated inadequate for poor staffing, safety, and leadership oversight. Leadership must ensure safe environments, consistent standards, and real monitoring. As you can see, it's falling apart everywhere. It's falling apart everywhere. And ultimately, if you're going to be setting up your own business, you have to be a cut above the rest. You have to be resilient to the noise pollution. You have to be able to market and promote your presence in a way that doesn't get caught up with the hype. This may cost you in the first instance that you're not going to be popular. But popularity can be costly if it's for the wrong cause. So it's better you stay integral and let that shine and let that take its time because it will catch on. And this is backed by a concept of competence because when you stand in that different space, the rest will fall off. The unintegral will end up showing themselves for who they are. And eventually you will be, even if it's the last option, it will be the safest option. It will be the most trusted option. And this might be when people decide, you know what, forget the cheat, forget the group, forget the peer pressure. I'm going for something real. I'm going for something substantial. So right now, that lack of competence is leading to organizations ripping off people, selling low value qualifications or training that doesn't map to real workplace needs. Tutors, instructors not adequately equipped with to teach in-depth leadership skills, mindsets, strategic thinking, management, change, etc. Employees promoted to leadership without training in core leadership competencies. conflict resolution, delegation, strategic thinking, and emotional intelligence. Weak alignment between what qualification covers and what employers need. So graduates of some programs are not operationally ready. Key component. Institutes focus on tick boxes rather than outcomes. Qualification awarded rather than behavior change, leadership growth and results. Day-to-day operational pressures prevent proper investment in leadership development. So many things that the lack of competence breeds. And you have to be really mindful at the core to keep authentic, keep aligned, keep congruent, grow in your own space at your own rate, and adjust in an alignment with the truth that resonates with you. And that's the first space and place of how you actually build competence. And verily, all our pathways creates a strong, competent person. Competent, confident, not necessarily compliant. Because if you're compliant to hype, if you're addicted to hype, it's almost like being addicted to sugar. So being compliant only comes into play when you sense authenticity. Otherwise, you have to be able to dissolve hypocrisies. Don't walk in hypocrisy. Don't comply with hypocrisy. That you can't sleep at night. So building your future is never easy. The changes, the adjustments, you consistently have to be doing this daily, putting in that effort to change and construct and build, and being able to be flexible to these changes is what's going to make you a winner. Are you ready to change your old ways and allow yourself to become future proof? So let's take a quick deep dive into this cutting edge difference of what the courses are going to give in the area of competence. So to make a cutting difference, our leadership pathways and courses will include some of the following modules and skills, ones that are often missing elsewhere but are critical. Strategic leadership and visioning, how to see long-term trends, adapt strategy, not just manage day to day. Change management and leading through uncertainty, handling disruptive change, crises, uncertainty, e.g. tech-driven, economic, social, emotional intelligence and communication, both self-awareness and resilience, and others, feedback, listening, and coaching, decision-making and ethical leadership, making decisions with integrity, dealing with ethical dilemmas, understanding the social impact, people management skills, hiring, delegating, performance management, conflict resolution, digital and technology literacy, leaders understanding how AI, data, platforms are changing industries, organizations, and workflows, diversity, equity, and inclusion, inclusive leadership, awareness of bias, creating environments where different voices are heard. Operational leadership and financial acumen, budgeting, resource allocation, risk management, self-development and learning mindset, being able to reflect, unlearn, grow, fostering that in teams, accountability and impact measurement, setting KPIs, measuring outcomes, continuous improvement, leadership in remote, hybrid, and flexible contexts, new work models, distributed teams, maintaining culture. So those are the areas that the Transcending Matters Academy will be focusing on to future-proof your mindset, your way of planning, goal setting, achieving, resonating, being, living. So just before we wrap up, I just want to give you a few little insights on mindsets to go forward in personal growth, in observation of the territory. And the first one is, don't just protect your pocket, protect your future. When you choose depth over hype, verification over assumption, and long-term over quick fix, you're already leading yourself the way true leaders must lead others. Don't just protect your pocket, protect your future. When you choose depth over hype, verification over assumption, and long-term over quick fix, you're already leading yourself the way true leaders must lead others. Again, measure what is the real outcome. What do I walk away with that I can apply tomorrow? If I'm going to be still asking why and my needs are not met, I've just answered somebody else's why and met their needs in our transaction. And they have no care for your why or your needs, especially once you've paid up. So be really mindful. What is the real outcome? What do I walk away with that I can apply tomorrow? That choice of whether you apply it or not, that's down to you. But ask yourself the question, is there a takeaway that I can actually have the choice of whether I want to apply myself or not? But if there's nothing there, that's a signal that maybe you should have looked at that investment a little bit more deeper. So finally, check the roots, not just the fruits. Check the roots of where the solution is based on. Check the roots of where resolve is based on. Does the roots make sense? Do I get a resolve? Why are you serving me tea when I drink coffee? Or why are you serving me coffee when I drink tea? Check the roots, not just the fruits. And sometimes, very cleverly, dare I say, you would go to a restaurant it's very typical out here in Portugal. There's many restaurants that are open just for when the tourists are here. And the lights are there, the glamour's there, the decoration is there, and on the menu it's pizzas and everything that suggests that you're still in London. Or everything that you're used to eating per se. Nothing Portuguese. So when you find a real Portuguese restaurant that is mwah, the food, the fish, it doesn't look like much on the outside. In fact, the problem might be understanding how to market their thing to get the amount of volume of customers that would attract a high rate of business for them to create a chain. But then, no, this is what we want. We don't even want the tourists. We just want people who really appreciate food to come to our restaurant. If they find us, they'll find us. So again, check the roots and make sure the roots align with what you are looking for towards an outcome. So with that being said, I want to play a video that looks into the construct of the courses that Transcending Matters Academy will be providing, the pathways, the choice for the rigorous process of qualifications, and the depth and thoroughness. And it will also give you an insight to the education rigmarole, understanding the education platform as a whole. So let's look at that video now.
You're skilled, you're experienced, but does your CV truly reflect the value you bring? For many professionals, there's a frustrating gap between their actual ability and how it's perceived on paper. What if you could walk into any room and not just say you're an expert, but prove it with a qualification that everyone understands and respects? That is the power of a credible, structured pathway. It comes from understanding the system designed to validate your skills, a world with its own language of levels, credits, and frameworks. At Transcending Matters Academy, we operate on the principle that to master a path, you must first be given the map. Let's begin by mapping the journey. Every career has distinct stages. The skills you need to start are different from the ones you need to manage, and different again from those needed to lead. The UK's education system reflects this through a clear structure of levels. A Level 1 qualification builds your foundation. A Level 3 establishes you as a credible specialist. And a Level 7 positions you as a strategic leader. To navigate this path, you also need to understand how qualifications are built. They come in different sizes: a focused award for a specific skill, a more substantial certificate that combines several skills, and a comprehensive diploma for deep expertise. But a crucial element is often overlooked: the grade. Your qualification isn't just a pass or fail. It can be a pass, a merit, or a distinction. A pass proves competence. A merit signals high performance. But a distinction is the hallmark of excellence, certifying to employers that you have demonstrated outstanding, comprehensive mastery. This brings us to the most important question: how do you navigate this pathway in a way that is both efficient and undeniably credible? This is where the framework behind a qualification becomes critical. You may have heard of different systems, like the newer RQF. But at Transcending Matters, we have made a deliberate choice to build our qualifications on the QCF, the Qualifications and Credit Framework. Why? Because we believe in unquestionable thoroughness, not just meeting the minimum requirement. Let's be specific. To earn a certificate, a qualification typically needs to be between 13 and 36 credits. Consequently, many providers will design a course at just 15 credits, enough to meet the threshold, but no more. Our approach is fundamentally different. Our Level 1 certificate, for example, is built on 30 credits. This isn't just a bigger number, it represents a profound difference in depth. A 15-credit course is designed to get you a pass. Our 30-credit framework is designed to give you the comprehensive knowledge needed to demonstrate the outstanding mastery required for a merit or a distinction. It's the difference between being taught just enough to qualify and being equipped to excel. This philosophy of thoroughness is embedded in the QCF structure. It provides the detailed, step-by-step architect's blueprint. Every single skill is defined as a distinct unit. As you master each unit, you collect credits like building blocks. This granular, transparent structure ensures that no stone is left unturned in your development. And this entire process is guaranteed by a prestigious awarding organization, the London School of Media and Management, LSMM, who validates every step of your journey. But a rigorous framework is only half the story. The other half is velocity. Traditional academic calendars can be a slow, meandering river, stretching courses over months. Our model is different. We operate like a surgical tool. We have stripped away the academic filler and concentrated the essential learning. We focus exclusively on the practical competencies that employers value right now. So, the value proposition is clear. You invest in a pathway where each step, from level 1 to level 7, is a recognized qualification. The quality of your work is formally graded, giving you the leverage of a merit or distinction. The entire process is built on a framework of absolute rigor and delivered with the velocity that the modern professional workspace demands. This is your pathway, clearly mapped and expertly guided. Visit our website to explore the qualifications that will build your future. Transcending Matters, map your journey.
So there you have it. Thank you all for coming along and taking in this video on the philosophy of the Transcending Matters Academy. Like I said, it's a very deep one. Let's just stop the share. It's a very deep insight to seeing what we are looking to tackle in the environment, in the workplace. In terms of an opening day, the next opening day will be next Sunday, the 21st of September. We're going to be promoting this right throughout the week. The courses are now up on the website over at transcendingmatters.com. If you go over to transcendingmatters.com, you will see the academy. Click on the academy and you could go through everything that we're currently doing. The courses are up now. The next stage that will be opening up over the next couple of days are the course details pages. This will include all the prospectuses, all the sign-up procedures, and all the contribution scholarship procedures as well. So go over to the website, have a look at the updates that we've been doing. Thank you once more for coming and joining me on this conversation about the philosophy of the Transcending Matters Academy and understanding future proofing as a whole. I hope you have learned something for yourselves as a takeaway to protect yourselves in the future and to understand what you have to personally do. Everybody is under the guise of future proofing, even myself, everyone, every single person is what's the word? Called to duty to future proof themselves. So I'm going to leave it right there. Again, once again, thank you for your time. Stay bold, stay beautiful, stay on the best side of you. Hit on that like and subscribe button for more content and stay tuned for more information. Ashe.